I have created many teams over the past years, from best teams to competitive teams, so I've decided to take a look at some of my favorite video game characters and see what they would use on their team based on the game they are from. If you missed my first video in this series, go back and check it out, as this one we are covering the same character. What's good, Chaotic Nation? It's your boy Chaos here, and today we are creating a team based off The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. For this series, I am taking a look at game-specific items, mechanics, or themes to be used on a Pokemon team. I'm trying not to use universal items for the franchise, otherwise there really would be no reason to make this video, since I've already done a video on Link's Awakening from the franchise. So items like the Master Sword will be excluded from this list, just so we don't have any overlap if I want to do another Zelda video down the road. Before we jump into this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to help support the channel. And without further ado, let's discuss what Pokemon Link from Ocarina of Time would use if he was a Pokemon trainer. One of my favorite dungeons in the game is the first one you come across. The Deku Tree serves as your first big test on the way of the hero, as Link conquers Ganon's curse incarnate as Goma. When Link defeats Goma, it is not without the Deku Tree dying as well. Eventually, the Deku Tree is reincarnated as the Deku Sprout. To represent the Deku Tree, I have chosen to go with Phantup. While Trevenant could also serve the purpose of this slot on the team, Phantup works better in my opinion. Phantup really represents a spectral element of the Deku Tree, especially representing the Deku Sprout. Phantup also does well with representing the Kokiris, since they are the children of the area that the Deku Tree kind of looks over. Phantom's Pokemon Y and Alpha Sapphire entries read, according to the old tales, these Pokemon are stumps possessed by the spirits of children who died while lost in the forest, which also is a really cool tie to Lost Woods as an area that surrounds the Kokiri Forest where it is extremely easy to get lost. There's also a lot of lore of the Deku Kid that could potentially be used in this character. A kid who gets lost in the forest and makes this Pokemon really one of the best options for this slot on my list. I would like to clarify that I'm aware that the Deku Tree does make appearances in Legend of Zelda Wind Waker and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. However, I believe the reasoning I have offered for this slot justifies including the Deku Tree on this list. Also, Ocarina of Time does the most in fleshing out the story of the Kokiri, since Wind Waker has the Kokiri transform into Koroks, and also it's one of the first iterations of the Deku Tree that we see in the franchise in general. Continuing our progression in the game, I would be remiss to disregard the game's namesake, the Ocarina of Time. The Ocarina of Time allows Link to travel around the world, manipulate nature, and access the sacred realm. The Ocarina plays an instrumental part in the Ocarina of Time, and to represent it on this team, I have chosen Lugia. Now, Lugia might seem like an odd pick, but I chose it for a reason. In the Pokemon 2000 movie, it is an ocarina played by Melody that has the power to calm and heal Pokemon. The song used in Pokemon 2000 is known as Lugia's Song, because the song's melodic lines imitate Lugia's cry, and has Lugia's power to calm Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. I want to stress that this isn't officially an ocarina, and is the only Pokemon that has a direct connection to an ocarina throughout the franchise, and thus why I chose to use it on this spot of the team. Ocarina of Time, it gives many options for weaponry, so why not include one of them on this list, and I'm going to choose a sword. I mentioned not including the Master Sword, so that kind of just leaves us with the Kokiri Sword and the Big Goron Sword. Unfortunately, the Kokiri Sword appears in Majora's Mask, and the Big Goron Sword can be obtained in Oracle of Season and Breath of the Wild. So that leaves us with our only Ocarina of Time exclusive sword, the Giant's Knife. The Giant's Knife is sort of a meme. It first works as a Big Goron Sword, but it is a knockoff and not as strong as the Big Goron Sword, so it breaks after a few uses. The sword can still be used in its broken state, but it has the strength of Kokiri Sword, which, if you don't know, is worse than smacking something with a stick. You also cannot use the spin attack with the broken Giant's Knife, just as a little tidbit of information. My solution for this Pokemon on our team is Zacian. Zacian fits the gimmick of having the most broken weapon in the game and being a shadow of its full glory. For this team, it would be cool to have the Hero of Many Battles form, or the base Zacian form, because it represents the broken giant's knife. Now, I am aware that this team will probably be one of the most powerful character teams from a competitive standpoint. However, this team was built to be a representative of its game, so there's really no need to limit myself with Pokemon and choosing which ones can and cannot be included on a team. Zacian also allows us to create lore of Zacian's origin in the franchise, where in its crown form originally, but it has been reduced to the shadow of its former self after several battles, which matches exactly what the giant's knife does. Many of the items that are unique to Ocarina of Time are found on the adult side of the game. This spot will include the required Megaton Hammer. The Megaton Hammer is a Goron weapon, like our previous entry that was used by the Goron leader to defeat Volvolgia. Link acquires this item in order to, again, silence Volvolgia after Ganon restores it. The Megaton Hammer has several uses: to open switches, to open paths for Link to continue on, and for this Pokemon, I chose to use Emboar. There really isn't a hammer Pokemon per se, but Emboar does match up with the Megaton Hammer. The hammer is a bit slower to swing than a sword, which fits Emboar's speed stat. Emboar's also a fire type, which matches the fire temple where the Megaton Hammer is found and primarily used. Also, Emboar learns Hammer Arm, which could function as actually swinging the hammer, so it has all the ties there. Fun fact, I actually typically name all of my Embers Ganon, since it kind of resembles the beast form of Ganon in Ocarina of Time, so there's another nod to the resemblance in Ocarina of Time, and another connection. Continuing on with the progression of the game and the items that are needed to defeat bosses, we move to the infamous Water Temple. Water Temples are some of the most annoying dungeons in the Zelda universe. Morpha, the boss of the Water Temple, requires Link to upgrade his hookshot into a long shot in order to traverse to the boss room. Now, before somebody says a comment saying,
Chaos, I know the hookshot in many other Zelda games, like it's in A Link to the Past, A Link's Awakening, A Link Between Worlds, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and the best one, Majora's Mask.
I obviously have researched this item, and I know enough about it to know that the hookshot is in many games. Obviously, I didn't come up with that list out of nowhere. In case you missed it, this spot is for the long shot. The long shot is a variant of the hookshot given in the Water Temple to extend the range of Link's hookshot. There are several paths in Ocarina of Time that require the hookshot and long shot to access, and can be used in many ways to retrieve items, golden Skulltulas, and so on. To represent this Pokemon, I found no better option than Dhelmise, since it is the most gripping chain-like Pokemon out there. Anchor Shot also kind of resembles the launching of the hookshot to grab its target and latch onto it. An added bonus is Dhelmise has ties to the water, being a Pokemon that's found in the water, so it does resemble the temple that you find the long shot in. For the final team member, I've opted to engage with the magical items of Ocarina of Time. Zelda games use magic powers for several weapons, including the Ganon Destroyer, the Light Arrows. Since magic arrow variants appear across the games, I have opted for magic items, so no fire arrows, ice arrows, or light arrows in this video. The only required magic item other than light arrows to beat the game is Din's Fire, which will be our last entry on this list. Now, there are 3 different types of magic in Ocarina of Time: Feyor's Wind, which allows teleportation within a dungeon; Naru's Love provides protection from damage; and Din's Fire creates a dome that can be used to damage enemies or light things on fire. Feyor's Wind and Naru's Love are not required in Ocarina of Time, but Din's Fire is utilized to enter the Shadow Temple, and is a valuable item as you progress through the game. Before I name our final team member, I want to acknowledge that Feyor's Wind, Din's Fire, and Naru's Love are also all in another game, Super Smash Bros. You might not know it, but it's actually in there, which is kind of cool. I really like that tie that they have there. It's included as Zelda's moveset. Feyor's Wind is Zelda's up special, Din's Fire is Zelda's side special, and Naru's Love is Zelda's neutral special. But enough of that. For our Din's Fire Pokemon, I have chosen to use Magmar. I know there are several fire Pokemon out there that could fit this bill, but I feel like Magmortar makes the most sense because it fires powerful fire blast from its arm cannon. And when thinking of burning everything in my path, no other Pokemon does it quite like Magmortar does for me. You might disagree, but this is my list, so I can put whatever I want here. Well, that's the team from Ocarina of Time that Link would use if he was a Pokemon trainer. Something fun that I haven't mentioned yet in this video would be creating differences based on kid or adult Link. We could change Phantom and Trevenant around for the adult battle. We could change the forms of Zacian depending on if Link would have had the broken Giant's Knife or the full Giant's Knife at this point in time in the game. And we could also evolve things like Emboar and Magmar to kind of give previous forms for the child that might be more child-esque rather than adult-esque. You could also go all the way down to their base forms, which could be kind of funny, but that's up to programming later on down the road in the future. I think these options would be a really cool feature of if like the Ocarina of Time Link was a battleable NPC in especially the new games of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, where we know there's going to be differences in past and future. So why not include the character of the past and future, the hero of time himself, Link from Ocarina of Time in that, and add this feature because it'd be really cool as like a rival kind of character that you just battle repeatedly, and he changes teams based on like what time period you find him. Like he could just be randomly in both sides of the universe at any given point in time, which would be great. And I thought it would be a really cool feature, especially since Scarlet and Violet is coming up soon. As always, let me know what you think of the team in the comment section down below, and make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe so you don't miss future videos from me. Also, let me know if there's a game character you would like to see me create a team for. You can let me know the game, you can let me know a character, I'll come up with something, hopefully. And I know I've done a couple of Zelda teams, so it would be cool to try out a different franchise. I have some ideas in the Sonic universe, I have some other things that I've been thinking about, but if you have something that you want to see, let me know, and I'll see what I can do with it. Hopefully come up with a really cool idea for a team. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Chaos, signing off. Stay safe, and as always, burn it up.